Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome to my reading corner. This is going to be my February wrap up. February wasn't a great reading month because one book took me quite a while, and then I was ill for about a week. So that kind of threw it all out, really, my reading plans. It still wasn't a bad month. Looking at what I've got ongoing and what I've finished, it's not too bad a month, really. So I'm going to go through what I finished first, then I'm going to go through what I didn't get to, and when I plan on reading it, because I still plan on reading everything I've picked out at some point this year as well, so we're going to go through that. Let's see, I've not really set this up in any order at the minute, so we'll pretend I'm not doing this right now, because I kind of want to grab, because I read a lot, I can knock them over then. Right, so I'm going to go through the novels first. There weren't so many novels I've read this month, actually. I thought I'd read more than this. Let's put it that way, because that's the order we read them. I finished Cormac McCarthy, All the Pretty Horses. I found this really a good book, but I found it hard to get through. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a lack of commas, or I don't know. It just seemed to take me a long time to read, and I just felt as well some of the parts in the book just kind of fell off, like there'd be a plot point or a storyline, and whatever you want to call it, and it just kind of ended without like really any. It was just quite abrupt end, really. It wasn't really any, because I don't know whether he planned it as a trilogy originally, but it doesn't read like as such, the first book, but it was quite good. Really enjoyed it. It just took me a while to read. Then I read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is a reread, which I really enjoyed. I enjoy it every time I read it, but I always felt like I find something new in it every time. So yeah, I enjoyed that. That didn't take me that as long as All the Pretty Horses, but it still took me longer than I expected, but I enjoyed it. And then the final novel I've finished this month so far is The Restaurant of Lost Cities. The Restaurant of Lost Recipes. Now, this was my favourite read. I wasn't expecting reading this, but it's from the library, and I had it on reserve, and I had it borrowed, and somebody had it on reserve, and it's due back tomorrow. I'm going to the library tomorrow, so that's why I decided to read that. It only took me 2 days to read it, and it was really good. It was my favourite book, and there was one chapter that was really like I kind of got a bit upset with, and that was Christmas Cake, but it's really good. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I finished a poetry collection by Caleb Femi called Poor, which I really enjoyed. I wasn't sure about some of the language in there that's used, just because I didn't quite understand it. Cultural differences and stuff like that. The guy's from London as well. I'm from, Bolton. So there's quite a few different cultural differences. I like the artwork in it as well. There's pictures, sorry. But yeah, it's a really good book. Really enjoyed it. But yeah, Poor by Caleb Femi. Really interesting poetry collection. I read a few mangas as well. I managed to read 3 mangas this month, which were on my list to read. I've finished Crazy Food Truck manga. That was a really fun read. It just carries on the story, and it's getting a bit more wild and crazy, but it's getting interesting. There's only one more volume left, so I'm going to try and pick that up for next month. And then I read I also read Golden Kamuy too. This is getting good as well and carrying on the story. I don't think it's as good a volume as the first one was, but it was still a good volume. My favourite manga comic book of the month, Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This was absolutely a wild, crazy, scary ride. It was absolutely bonkers. It's all in black and white. I'm not sure I can show you what I'm showing you, because it's quite a graphic novel in places. But I love how simple not simple how black and white looks, but how like it takes away the colour element. But that was my favourite manga. It's quite thick manga as well. I've got a couple on order I need to pick up tomorrow, but I'll probably do a book haul / library haul / weekend reads at the weekend. I just thought I'd get this done tonight because I'm out tomorrow and I'm out Friday, so I might not get a chance. And then Saturday feels a bit like, well, we're already starting March and I want to be planning my March read, so I thought I'll finish off February. This is amazing. I don't own any Junji Ito, but I want to get on the ball with that. And then I also read a Sin City. Excuse me. Sin City, The Hard Goodbye. Really enjoyed this. This is a story of Marv, who's a really good character in the film, and he's played by Mickey Rourke. I really want to reread this. I read this last year, and I just love, again, I'm not sure I can show you, but it's all in like black and white, so it's all really cool. So yeah, that's really good. So I finished that, and I'm going to get on with the books I didn't get to, and for what reason. So I felt like I'd read enough comic books without reading any more, but I was thinking about actually what I was reading. I've just realised I've not got Death Note with me. I didn't get to Death Note, so I'm going to read volume 1 and 2 and 3 this month, so I'm up to date. But so that's that. I didn't read The Man Without Fear, Daredevil, which is Frank Miller, so I'm going to read that next month, in March, so we're going to get that done next month. I did have a couple of books picked out, but they're pushed back to April now. I've got the Dark Knight Returns. I didn't get to this, unfortunately. Quite wanted to get to this because this is quite cool. I think I have read this before as well as... I'm not sure if I've read The Man Without Fear, but I think I have. So yeah, and then I didn't get to Mouse, so I've just renewed Mouse. I did think about starting it and did start it, but then I decided to read something else. So Mouse I'm going to read next month as well. John Grisham I didn't get to either, just because of being ill and all the Pretty Horses taking me as long as it did. So I'm going to read this in April with Thomas Harris and Robert Harris, as I thought a thriller would be good. I'm also planning on starting reading the Dan Brown book so I can get the new one when it comes out. I didn't get to Attack on Titan this month, so I plan on reading Attack on Titan 2 next month and 3. And then I didn't get to the William S. Burroughs trilogy either. So I'm going to read that in June because I'm already reading the Border trilogy, which I was going to read in June. So I basically just swapped that out. So that's The Cities of Red Night. I can't quite read that. The Place of Dead Roads. And then The Western Lands. So I'll read all those in June. I also picked out Assisted Living, which was my Samizdat book. I'm going to read this next month as well. I feel like March is quite highly stacked, but I just feel like there's not a lot going on in March, really, and I feel like, you know, a couple of short story collections would be good to get through, and that'd be one. And then I didn't get to my second-hand TBR book either, which was 6 Minutes in May. So I'm not sure I'm going to read this. I'm thinking non-fiction November, unless I fancy it before then, or May, because it's 6 Minutes in May. So we'll see. So that's that, really. There's quite a stack there I didn't get to, which, to be honest with you, I was kind of gutted with. More of the William S. Burroughs and the comic books I didn't get to. Next up, I think I'm going to read this tonight, so I've shoved that in the currently still reading, so I'm going to read this tonight. Just 'cause it's Comic Book Wednesday, so I thought I'd read that. Get this one out of the way because I'm sick of talking about it. Essential Chomsky, I've not read any of this month, I'm not going to lie. So I need to get on the ball with that this month. So Saturday I've got my eye test booked. I need some new glasses, so I'm gonna read that before I go for my eye test, or just take that and then that's what I have to read. I'm still carrying on with Warren Ellis, Coming Alone. I'm reading this every Friday, so it's just like my Friday, try and read it for work if I can, and then that way then what I read on my break is what I want to read on my break. I've got a novel on the go, which I'll show. So I'm reading Slow Days, Fast Company, and this is really good. I'm on the... I thought I was on the final chapter. I kind of underestimated that. I've got 2 chapters left, Emerald Bay and, I'm not sure what the other one's called, The Garden of Allah. So yeah, this is quite interesting. It's about Eve Babbitts. It's kind of like autobiographical about her relationships with different people, but I've got like... I've got about 40 pages left, if that. So that should be finished after this. So that'll be on there. Still making my way through The Most Beautiful Woman in Town. I've kind of stopped at the minute because it's kind of... The next story is quite, about 20 odd pages. So I've just stopped at the minute. Well, I stopped to read The Restaurant of Lost Recipes, and then I started Slow Days, Fast Company. So that's why that's been put on the back burner, but that'll be what I want to read next. I haven't read any of George Louis Borges this month, so I'm thinking if I can finish what I want to read, I might try and get a couple of stories in this read as well. But my main priority is finishing Bukowski, Slow Days, Fast Company, and then I also didn't read any Books of Blood either, so these are kind of ongoing. I was hoping to have finished this last month, but I've not, so I'm going to carry on with that. And this was a year-long read anyway, so I just feel like I want to try and read. I think I'd rather read one in here and one in here if I could, but we'll see how I get on, because I want to try and finish. And I'm also reading as well John Cooper Clarke, I Want to Be Yours, which I got while I was away. I can't remember how much it was now. I think it was only like £1 in a charity shop, hardcover as well. I picked this up and read like quite a bit of it and then put it down for a bit just while I take a break. But I am on chapter 40, so I'm on page 249, so I've made quite a dent in it. I've probably about 200 pages left, 220 pages left, so I should get that done as well. So basically, this is my pile of books for finishing, so I'm not going to read any Essential Chomsky before the end of the month, just because it's Friday, the last day of the month, so we can ignore that. I will read my Friday Coming Alone, so I'll keep going with that. I've not missed a Friday yet, so that's good. I'm going to read this after I finish. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to read... I got it right. Slow Days, Fast Company by Eve Babbitts. First, because I've got that's about 40 pages. And then I think I'm going to try and make a bit of a dent in this. Maybe read, a couple of stories in that. Or, no, actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish Eve Babbitts, Slow Days, Fast Company. And then I'm going to read Sweet Tooth in Captivity, because it's Comic Book Wednesday. And I love Jeff Lemire. I think he's I know he's my favourite comic book writer, but this is one of the best series I've read. So that's that. And then I'm gonna then treat myself to a bit of a short story evening. I'm going to read some Charles Bukowski, some George Louis Borges, and I'm also going to read a Clive Barker. That's tonight. And if I read at least one Clive Barker and one Borges, then I'll just and a couple of Bukowski stories. Then I'll carry on with John Cooper Clarke. Then I want to try and read about. I kind of went through a stage where I was kind of reading 5 chapters at a time. So let me see where that'd take me. So I'm on 249. That'd take me to nearly. Well, if I read a few more, if I aim to read about 50 pages in this, then I've got 170 then to read over 2 days, which is about 170, about 85 pages a day then to finish off the month. So that's all I plan on reading really. I'll probably pack my bag in a minute. Pack my bag, sort my bag out. So that's pretty much everything I've read. Stuff I'm going to carry on with, stuff I'm going to still aim to get to this year that I haven't done. But yeah, I just feel like just want to finish the month with those few, like John Cooper Clarke, finish Bukowski, at least read 1 or 2 George Louis Borges, and at least 1 Book of Blood. Sweet Tooth, read that and finish that, and then also on Friday read that. So that's that. So yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going to do I'm going to upload this and also my March TBR. But I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to do my weekend reads, book haul, library haul, Friday or Saturday yet. But I'm going to the library tomorrow. I do have a list of books I'm taking back. So I'm returning This Other Eden by Paul Harding. The Restaurant of Lost, which I didn't get to read, it's reserved, so I'm taking it back. The Restaurant of Lost Recipes, I've read. Librarian, I've renewed it twice, and I'm not going to get a chance to read it before it's renewed, so I don't want to reduce my library books. Poa by Caleb Femi, Uzumaki by Junji Ito, and also Slow Days, Fast Company by Eve Babbitts. And I've got to I want to collect Stoner by John Williams, which I read twice last year, Say Nothing by Patrick Radnut Keith, No Longer Human, which I read last year, Pachinko and Ali and Tome by Junji Ito. But we'll see what's there tomorrow, so I have reserved a few more books. So we'll get on the ball with that tomorrow. We'll pick those up and that. But I'm going to do my March TBR now. And then, so that's February, more or less wrapped up with those few books. But I'll probably update on those books as well with my weekend reads and that kind of jazz. So there'll be quite a lot to talk about at the weekend, so I'll see when I get the time. Friday I'm going out for a few beers with Harry, my mate from school. Both into metal, beers, stuff like that. So he mentioned meeting up. Well, I mentioned meeting up, and then he suggested Friday. So we're going to go for a few beers, hang out, and then so it'll be if I get a chance before I go out, then it'll be Friday. If I don't get a chance, it'll be Saturday. So we'll see. But hopefully Saturday, because then I'll have more time to get some of these read. Anyway, March TBR coming up. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.